Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most important features in SQL Server, which is logging. You often face issues with logging, such as blocking sessions, deadlocks. I think you should have at least a basic knowledge about this feature. What is logging, how many types are there, and how do they work? In this video, I will try to briefly provide this information to you. So let's start our session. So first of all, what is logging? Logging is used when there is a concurrent usage of database. Okay, so you know that database can be used by many users concurrently. If the same users update the same data at the same time, the inconsistency of the data arises. Logging is just a solution to prevent such inconsistencies. So let's make it more specific. Imagine we have 4 transactions, or users, let's say, accessing our database. A and B and C and D, So, as we can see that first C is coming, after that D is coming, after that B and A. We are sure that they are not coming concurrently. They are coming one after another. So if these transactions are executed one after another, we do not face inconsistency. As a result, we do not need logging. However, this is unreal. Your database can be accessed by many users. I cannot say can be, but they are. Your database is accessed, okay, in real life by many users and at the same time. For example, as before, we have 4 transactions and they are accessing your database concurrently. So in this case, multiple transactions are executed in parallel and we may face data inconsistency. And the solution to this is logging. So let's make it more specific. For example, we have user 1 and user 2. User 1 and user 2 are accessing the data 50 here at the same time. By aiming to make the data equal to 0, the user 1 updates the data by subtracting 50. Being unaware of this update, user 2 here adds 100 to the data, aiming to make it 150. However, the result is a little bit unexpected. It's becoming 100. Also, user 2 is adding 100. User 2 did not expect this because user 2 did not know that user 1 already updated. If he knew that, he would add 150. So this is called inconsistency. There should be some tool to prevent this kind of concurrent access. This is called locking. If locking is enabled, for example, in this case, when user 1 access the data, the lock is used, and user 2 cannot access the data. User 2 is made to wait in this case until user 1 finishes updating and releases the lock. Okay, so briefly, that the locking works in this way. There are many major types. There are many types of locking, but major types. Let me just summarize major types in this session. First one is exclusive locking, which is marked with X. So this locking prevents sessions running update statements at the same time for the same data. If one transaction starts with an update statement, for example, right? Update statement can be update, insert, or delete. Exclusive lock is enabled, and other transactions accessing the same data other transactions trying to access the data should wait until the lock is released. Okay, this is also called write lock because this lock is used when updating the data. this log is retained until first started transaction finishes. So let's, for example, in our previous case, here also, like exclusive log is can be used. For example, when user 1 accesses the data, exclusive log is used, and the log for this, in terms of this data, log is used. So because of this log, user 2 cannot access this data and waits until user 1 releases this log. Okay, so here we can say here log, that exclusive log is being used, can be used. Okay, so this is like one of the major log type. So I think it would be nice if we can see in a live demo. Therefore, I just have created a live demo for this case. So first, I have created a test DB. In this test DB, there is a table 1. And in table 1, there are 2 columns, col 1 and col 2. Okay. So after that, I'm just inserting the table, inserting some data to the table, 2 row data, 1 and 2, A and B, respectively. So if I select this, I can see this. The data is, sorry, I think I should roll back because I made a little bit testing before. So I think I should maybe here. Okay, let's try again. Oops, I think let's make it roll back. Okay, I have rolled back. And what about this? Okay, I think I should also roll back this one. Yeah, I think it should work now. So let's see that. If I again started, okay, I can see now. I'm sorry about that. So first, I have created a table and and also inserted some data in the table for testing purposes. So my table and the data is just as simple like this, the output. And then for testing purposes, I'm just updating. I'm just starting the transaction for this database. And in this transaction, I'm trying to update that data by setting column 2 equal to s if column 1 equal to 2. Okay, so I just started. Please note that I'm not finishing transaction. I have just started but not finishing. Transaction finishes if I run this part, roll back or commit transaction. Okay, so after running this, the exclusive log already started. Okay, so after that, let's try to access the same data. If I run this now, you can see that the query does not finish. It is just in the state of executing query. This means that this query is being blocked by this query, by this session, because of with the help of the exclusive log. Okay, until this session releases the log, this query does not finish. Okay, the query is not run. It is just in waiting status. To confirm this, we can just run a simple. I can say that simple. We often use, data engineers often use this sysdm trend logs and the sysdm auth waiting tasks and also sysdm exec request to check what session is being blocked and what session is blocking during the locking process. Okay, I just run this, for example. Let's run. If I run this, if I just go here, if I check, okay, I can see that one session is waiting status. This session is this session. It is executing query. It is in waiting status. Okay, and then if I find this wait, it is the session ID is 54. If I go to this 54 session, I can see that this session is being blocked by session ID 60. If I see that 60 and see that the request mode is IX and X, this means that this session is using locking type, exclusive locking we just discussed. So we can just confirm here. See, it's X. As you might remember, I have already told that exclusive locking is marked with X. And we can just see from here that this session is using exclusive lock. Okay, we can just check like this. So this is briefly about like exclusive locking. So another type of locking is shared locking. This locking is used to prevent running update statements while another session is already running select statement. Okay. In other words, for example, imagine you have a select statement. Okay, you are trying to get the data. During that time period, SQL Server does not allow any other session to update your table, to update the data, which is being like referenced by select statement. Okay, so SQL Server uses shared locking for these purposes. So this is called shared because other transactions can run select. Okay, one, two, or three, more than 100. If you have transactions like using select, they can just access it and get the data, and that's all. Okay. Since there is no since we do not update or we do not touch the data, select statements are allowed in shared locking. And the lock retention in shared locking is released immediately after the row has been read. Okay, this is also a very important topic, important feature of this. As you might remember, that exclusive locking it is released when transaction finishes. But in the case of shared locking, the locking is retained like very short period of time. It is released immediately after the row has been read. So for this also, like I have also prepared a demo. Let's first cancel our previous demo. For example, if we run rollback, just here, we can see that our query finished immediately because we just, by running rollback, we just released the lock. And as a result, this another session successfully finished querying the data. So if we check again, we can see that there is no any session in waiting status. Okay. So after that, let's check shared locking. Okay, shared locking. So let's do one testing. Let's run this. So after running this, we can see we do not roll back because it is a transaction should not finish. Let's run this in this way. Okay. So what I'm doing is I am starting transaction with select from table. After I run this, the shared locking started. Okay. And shared locking started, and there's a lock already here. So another session which is using update statement, for example, update or delete, right, or insert, cannot access this data. because there is a shared locking. So let's run and let's see how it works. Let's run this. If I run this, you can see that the query becomes in executing query status. It is in waiting status, okay? We can just check this, for example, like this, and we can go here, convert, here, okay. So we can see that the session ID is 63. So 63 session is in waiting status. It is being blocked. Okay, by what session it's being blocked? In order to see that, we should go to bottom and we can see that the session is being blocked by session ID 56. Okay, we can see that 56 session, and this session is using shared locking. Okay, so shared locking is being used, and so this is just a small demonstration how shared locking should work. Okay, just let's release this lock by running rollback, only rollback. After that, we can see that this query successfully finished. And after that, we can just see that there is no any session in blocking state. Okay, so this is just a small demonstration about shared locking. So let's go back, and then there is another lock type called intent locks. Okay, I would say that intent lock is a signal for the new sessions about existence of locks for referencing data. For example, you have this data, right? Imagine you have this kind of data. Okay, one, two. It's just a simple data. Okay, so after that, you are running a SQL statement which is trying to get this data from one till 9 rows. Okay, so when you run the SQL statement, what SQL does is firstly is to check every row to check that is there any lock in the data. For example, here we can see that there is a lock for the data for the third row, and the SQL server should know this beforehand, before starting any update statement or insert statement. Okay, so this is a very important feature, but there's one point. Here it is very easy, like SQL Server just can check easily from by just checking from 1 until 9 rows. But if we have more than 1,000 or 100 million, 1 million data rows, for example, right? SQL Server should check every row for the just in order to know whether there is a lock or not. And this is very inefficient, and it's very time consuming. In order to just to decrease this inefficiency, what SQL Server use is just to put the log in data page in SQL Server. Data page, as you might know, like consists of, it is just a group of rows. Okay, so SQL Server just goes to data page and knows that in some row there is a lock. So therefore, it does not touch this group and goes to the next group. So intent locks works like this. So the last lock type is update lock. And update lock is used during data modifications. For example, you are running update statement for a few rows in the table. In this case, SQL Server first acquires like update log and check whether these rows can be changed or updated. If so, SQL Server converts update log to an exclusive log here, update log to exclusive log, and performs the data modifications. Otherwise, the update log is just released. Okay, if the row cannot be changed, it is just released. So let's see that also in our demo. For example, here we have seen that there is I. This is intent log. Okay, and this log is placed in page. You can see that this is being placed, and also is okay. Let's see. There is no update log here. So let's try to make update log. Let's run this again. No, not here. Let's run here because we are running update. So let's run this first. And let's run our checking. Okay. So if we go here, we can see that there is U. Okay. So this is update log. What the session is doing that before running the update statement for the data, it is just using update log and checking whether the row can be changed or not. Okay, this has all this is already finished. We can see here. Okay, so this is one. This is a way to confirm how update and intent log is working. So thank you very much. And this has been a brief session about logging. If you like this video, please do not forget to put like and subscribe. And thank you for watching.